So what we're gonna do today, we are gonna put on the poly plastic. We're gonna staple it in. You need a staple gun. You'll need a good box cutter, X-Acto knife, utility knife. And then we will install the hinges for the lid and a handle. And then what we'll do tonight is we'll test it, but I'm gonna show you how I'm gonna try to insulate it with some straw too. So let's go to a time lapse. Okay, I know I say it's all about functionality and not what it looks like, but I'm a little nitpicky on a few things. I'll show you. So overall, it's gonna get the job done. It's gonna do what I need it to do. What I'm not thrilled with, just how that plastic hangs in. I'm gonna put a cross support there while I also am working on the hinges and handle. So that's the next step. So to kind of shore up this edge here so the plastic has something to hold on to, I'm just going to recycle another 1x2 by 48. But I don't want that lid to sit up high and have that air draft. So I'm actually going to fasten it under like that, just with some brad nails. All right, I believe it is done. So we'll test it over the grow box. It doesn't look entirely square, but that's mostly because I didn't level these cross beams. I mean, it's like the back one, you can totally tell that one in the very back, but they're just there for support. This is not designed to win any awards. It's not even designed. And also I'll have to do something about this air gap right here. I could stuff like a blanket right there or something, or just some kind of cushioning. Otherwise, that's going to create enough of an airflow that it will defeat the whole purpose probably. So, okay, we'll get it over where it's supposed to go. Almost there now. So I have this bed ready. I'm actually going to put the strawberries in it first, just because I want to get the fruit going early. And the fruit won't set right now outside. It's still too cold at night. And then I'm going to build another one for some of the other plants that I talked about, like the peas and things. But this is how I'm going to do my measurement control. I have another one of these somewhere over there. These are just little Wise thermostats that are they're really cheap. They're waterproof. So I'm going to use 2 of these for control. I'm going to set one here kind of on the dry leaves, kind of under the lettuce a little bit, so that it's not just sitting on cold, damp soil. And I'm going to set another one in here, and then I'm going to set the greenhouse on top. So that's going to be my control. And then the last thing I'll do is I'll show you how we'll have them up today, and we'll run it for like 24 hours so we can see the difference at night and the difference during the day, and if the greenhouse works. So we're going to get those strawberries planted, put the box over there, and we'll be good. This is, it's got lettuce and a couple of other things in here. I am taking a risk putting this straw down. I'm sure it has some seed in it, but I'm trying to insulate the ground a bit, mostly to make a good control. So there is one of my Wise camera or temperature thermometers. And then you'll see over here what I did. Same thing, except I also insulated the bottom all the way around. And then here is that thermometer. So last night, the greenhouse stayed a little bit warmer than the thermometer that was just out in the open on one of the raised beds. Still not as warm as I'd like. But then I realized I really have nothing to create and help retain the heat other than a plastic barrier. So today I'm gonna create these. These are just a regular milk gallon bottle and an applesauce bottle. Spray painted them black and put really hot water in it. I actually had some leftover black rubber spray, so I put that on there. I don't know if it's gonna insulate it any better than not, but figured I had it. So we will put a couple of those in here. We'll just kind of prop them up on the sides. Well, let's see. The idea is that it gets sun. So I need it somewhere that it's going to be able to capture sunlight throughout the day and then help retain it. So honestly, actually probably in a bed for now. Once my plants grow and get bigger, that probably won't work. But for now, that's probably going to be the best bed. So we'll just put them right in here, and we will try this again. So this took me about 3 different tries, but I finally got it figured out. So if you recall, I had a draft right here because there was a small section. I just took a small wool emergency blanket and I just kind of tuck it under and then tuck it over just when I want it closed to keep the heat in. Otherwise, right there, that's a pretty big draft. Now, I wanted to get about 10 degrees out of this, and I finally got that, but not my first try. So these jugs, when they get full sun, that's actually cold right now, the top's okay, but when they get full sun and it hits on them, it will heat up and add a little bit of water. Not enough for what I need. So I have the 2 jugs there to create thermal mass. I also went back in and added small incandescent Christmas tree lights. That did nothing. I had 1 strand of those, and I was checking the thermostat readings every night. I had a control set up in this bed over here that was just exposed, and then 1 in here. And between these jars of water that I've painted black and these incandescent lights, I was getting 2 to 3 degrees on a day where it was sunny and capturing heat and holding it. If it was a cloudy day, I was getting nothing. So I went back and I found on clearance at one of the local stores these backyard patio lights, but incandescent. They were on clearance because nobody uses incandescent anymore, but these get warm when they're on, not hot enough to melt the plastic. I've had them going now for about 10 days, and I'm consistently getting 10 degrees every night. So nights like tonight, it's gonna be 30. I'll stay 40 on this. We've hit low 20s a couple nights, and I stayed at freezing in here, so it's working. And in the Southwest, I mean, we might hit 25 at night and then we jump up to 60 during the day. It's a huge swing throughout the day, but they're doing what I need. So I have 1 strand. I actually have another strand going over there. That's a whole different project, but I have 1 strand coming in on this cord. And I have this is also Wise. I'm a big fan of Wise, but it's a smart plug. So it's set up to a sensor and it's working with this. So this plug knows that if this is reading below 45 degrees, then I want it to turn the lights on. If this is reading above 45 degrees, it turns the lights off. So they come on usually around bedtime, sometimes earlier, and then they go off once the sun starts to hit it in the morning. So I like that setup, having a smart plug that integrates with the smart thermostat. The two of these here are some of the cheapest and most reliable that I've found. I really like their product. So it has worked. And what I did up here is I just stapled it, again, not when it's plugged in. I didn't want to electrocute myself, but I stapled it up here to the crossbar. It gets warm when it's on, not hot enough to melt the plastic, so that's not a concern. And that has done what I needed it to do. And I started putting sunflowers in here too, just to try to get bees to come in during the day, because it's not a lot of color over on this side of the yard early in spring. So I usually do that in spring with the first plants that come out. I'll put flowers out there that will attract my pollinators. Here you can kind of see the setup. So I still have the thermal mass jugs in there, though they're minimal on what they're doing. This is really doing nothing for me. Half of the time I don't even have these plugged in. But these ones up here, they're doing all the work. They're giving me 10 degrees. If I had another strand, maybe I'd get 20 degrees. I don't need that here. That's too warm. Within 30 minutes of opening up the lid, and only the first day after planting these flowers, the bees seem to find it. So it does show that putting some colorful flowers by your first crops each spring does help to draw the pollinators in. So let me know what you do, both to create thermal mass and to also bring the pollinators in onto your plants early in the spring.